Capitalism is an economic system that has shaped the modern world. It influences how societies produce, distribute, and consume goods and services. At its heart, capitalism emphasizes individual initiative, private ownership, and the pursuit of profit. Individuals, not governments, control the factors of production, such as land, labor, and capital. Scottish economist Adam Smith, in his 1776 book, articulated key capitalist principles that still resonate today. Smith argued for a laissez-faire approach, advocating for minimal government interference. This means minimal government intervention in the economy, allowing free markets to operate. Instead, Smith believed individuals pursuing their self-interest would ultimately benefit society as a whole. He described an invisible hand guiding these interactions, ensuring efficiency and innovation. This concept remains central to capitalist theory and continues to influence economic policies worldwide. 3 key pillars underpin capitalism. First is private property. Individuals and businesses can own, use, and dispose of property as they see fit. This includes land, buildings, and intellectual property. Second, markets serve as the primary mechanism for allocating resources. Buyers and sellers come together to exchange goods and services. Prices are determined by supply and demand. Finally, competition is essential in a capitalist system. Multiple producers vying for customers helps ensure quality and efficiency. Competition can lead to lower prices and increased innovation. Proponents of capitalism often point to its role in driving innovation and economic growth. The pursuit of profit motivates individuals and companies to develop new products and technologies. The Industrial Revolution, for example, was fueled by capitalist principles. Entrepreneurs seeking profits invested in new machinery and manufacturing processes. This led to unprecedented economic expansion. Today, capitalism continues to drive technological advancements. From smartphones to medical breakthroughs, the competitive marketplace fosters a constant push for progress. One of the most significant criticisms leveled at capitalism is its tendency to exacerbate income inequality. As wealth is accumulated by individuals and corporations, disparities between the rich and poor can widen. Critics argue that capitalism's emphasis on individual gain can lead to exploitation. Workers may be paid less than the value they create, while the owners of capital accumulate disproportionate profits. This concentration of wealth can have far-reaching consequences. It can lead to social unrest, limit opportunities for upward mobility, and undermine democratic principles. Section 5. The exploitation, question, labor in a capitalist system. The relationship between labor and capital is a point of contention within capitalist systems. This dynamic often leads to debates about fairness and equity in the workplace. Critics argue that workers are often exploited, facing long hours and minimal benefits. They point to low wages, unsafe working conditions, and limited bargaining power, which leave workers vulnerable. Proponents of capitalism counter that businesses create jobs, and provide opportunities for workers to improve their lives. They highlight the potential for upward mobility. They argue that market forces, such as supply and demand for labor, ultimately determine wages, ensuring a balance. However, history is replete with examples of labor exploitation under capitalism, showing the darker side of industrial progress. From sweatshops to child labor, these practices have marred the reputation of capitalist economies. The pursuit of profit has often come at the expense of workers' rights and well-being, sparking ongoing debates about the need for reform and regulation. Section 6. Capitalism and the environment, a complex relationship. The environmental impact of capitalism is a subject of intense debate. Critics argue that capitalism's emphasis on growth and consumption is inherently unsustainable. They point to pollution, deforestation, and climate change as evidence. Proponents of capitalism counter that market-based solutions can address environmental challenges. They advocate for carbon pricing, emissions trading, and technological innovation to mitigate environmental damage. Finding a sustainable balance between economic growth and environmental protection remains a significant challenge for capitalist societies. Section 7. Capitalism in action. Historical and modern examples. The United States, with its emphasis on free markets and private enterprise, is often cited as a prime example of capitalism. Other examples include Japan, Germany, and the United Kingdom. However, it is important to note that no country practices pure capitalism. Most capitalist societies incorporate elements of government regulation and social welfare programs. Historically, the Soviet Union and other communist states represented an alternative to capitalism. However, these centrally planned economies ultimately proved unsustainable. Section 8. Conclusion. The future of capitalism. Capitalism, despite its flaws, has proven to be a remarkably resilient and adaptable economic system. Over the centuries, it has evolved to meet the changing needs of society and the global economy. It has lifted millions out of poverty and driven innovation on an unprecedented scale. From technological advancements to urban development, capitalism has been a driving force. However, the challenges posed by inequality, exploitation, and environmental degradation cannot be ignored. These issues have sparked protests and calls for change worldwide. The future of capitalism will likely depend on its ability to address these issues. Sustainable business practices and green energy solutions are becoming increasingly important, whether through increased regulation, social safety nets, or a fundamental shift in values. The path forward requires collective effort and innovative thinking. Finding a more equitable and sustainable form of capitalism is crucial for the 21st century and beyond. The future depends on our ability to adapt and create a system that benefits all.